Hi, welcome to this week's Dragonblade Authors Unplugged. I'm excited. I get to talk to May Moore, and I've never met her before, and Michelle Helliwell. Ladies, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Yes, this is fantastic. Thank you.
Okay, so we've got a big week of releases again because that seems to be what our norm is now. So we're going to dive right in. A Shield Maiden's Warrior is Skye Purrington's release, and it's book 2 of Scots and Vikings, and we'll catch up with Skye on another time. I'll make sure I'll pop the link in the comments so you can get it if you haven't. But the next one is May Moore's debut series with Dragonblade, and it is Garden of Thorns, and it is book 1 in Arias and Alibis. Can you tell us about the book and also about the series, May?
Certainly. Well, Arias and Alibis is about a former was whisked away to America, found her love mate, and they had 3 lovely daughters who, once her husband, her beloved, passed on, she decided to bring her daughters home to London to enter them into the marriage. It is based in the Victorian era, and some folks may be aware that there was a little bit of a currency issue or financial issue at the time for a lot of the elite of society. So these ladies are technically dollar princesses. They are heiresses who married for title and success and power. As you can imagine, my heroines did not enjoy that. They wanted a true love match. So 2 of them were pretty upset about it. The first book, Garden of Thorns, is about the oldest daughter, Myrtle Grey, who happens to be a little bit of a spinster. She is living next door to a assumed rakish viscount. And once a murder happens, they work together to solve the case and ultimately fall in love.
Oh, cool. So we have, this is, I think, classified as Victorian historical mystery. Is that right?
Yes, it is Victorian historical mystery.
Awesome. But we get we get each one of the daughters as a separate story.
Yes, there are 3 of them. The youngest is the second book, which will be Field of Briars. And the final book will be House of Scoundrels, which is the middle daughter.
Oh, fantastic. I love the idea of having an English mother who immigrated and then comes back. That's
yeah. So it was fun to write. I had a great time.
Did you have to do a lot of research into the time period?
So I feel like historical authors are always challenged with the research because even if it's totally fiction, there are certain things and expectations that the readers have, so they want to see some of the things that they've read about in their research happen in your book. So for me, most of it was around the Dollar Princesses. I already had a pretty good idea on Victorian era. That's my favorite, next to Reconstruction in America, which is science. So I had a bunch of insight into that. What I didn't have was the Dollar Princess information. So I spent the vast majority of my time understanding the mindset of parents who sent their daughters off to England. What was helpful was we have some pretty famous folks that were Dollar Princesses. Most famously, Consuela Vanderbilt, who was notoriously married to a duke, cried her way down the aisle, and I think they had several kids, but ultimately they got divorced. So that was a great source for my materials. And then, lots of others that followed suit. I believe it was close to 200 Dollar Princesses, which is a terrible name to call them. But
yeah, I've never heard that. I've never heard that phrase before. But it's like it makes perfect sense because that's what they brought to the table.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it wasn't uncommon for women to bring dowries into marriages. It was just these particular heiresses were very, very wealthy, and that was the new thing. So, the standard dowry, these women were millions to the table for their soon-to-be husbands. So.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that there had been a time where on the opposite side where you had newly wealthy people, who made their money this generation, wanting some kind of validity is the wrong word, but but you know what I mean. They want something.
I don't know if it's the wrong word. I think the fathers were really interested in, they had all this money, and there was this was a time of respectability, right? And they were Gilded Age, and there was like, in New York, there were lots of robber barons and things like that. And the only thing they didn't have was the heritage, the legacy. So it was a way for them to get, instant legacy. My daughter is a viscountess. My daughter is a duchess. So that's it, kind of the gimme in that situation.
Such an interesting time period too, because like it feels like all the old rules are still in place, but society has moved so much further ahead with technology and like the ability to travel and the railroads and everything else, that it feels like it's such an interesting time, where we're holding on to this but being pushed towards
yeah. And I think it was pushed beyond the boundaries, of particularly in England, because there was an expectation that you met certain criteria as you enter into society. And that's when you'll see the etiquette books start to kind of pop up. I want to say it was early 1900s when you saw the most of them. And I think they were like trying to re-educate people on how to be a member of the Bologna. So it's an interesting time.
Well, the series sounds fascinating, and we get a ton of Regency. We don't get a ton of Victorian era, especially not with an American tie-in. So
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the whole thing. So
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, the next book that came out this week is a Lion's Den book, and it's Michelle's book, and it's Reclaiming the Lion. Can you tell us about this one, and also a little bit about what it's like to write in the Lion's Den world?
So writing in the Lion's Den world was actually a little intimidating, because if you feel like you're stepping into someone's house and I'm being asked to add something to a world that's already incredibly well established, and there are, characters and just things about the world that readers come to love and expect. So it was intimidating as heck. I'm not going to lie, to be able to like walk in and figure out how my particular way of telling stories was going to be able to fit. I spent a lot of time actually like studying the layout of that building. I just need to root my characters in physical spaces. That means a lot to me, as it does. So I came to it with not a little bit of trepidation. But my story, Reclaiming the Lion, is a second chance romance. I think that's sort of in the title. So the heroine is, as per the Lion's Den, is a woman who's looking for perhaps the last chance at romance. Really, Georgie is the daughter of an earl and of a fading estate for reasons that seem to boil down to incredibly bad luck that's gone on for quite a long time. And so she has been tied to a man who is like 3 times her age, think of a really dour sort of man. And she's young, she's 21 years old. And she understands that the walls are closing in. And she's a girl that's, she's followed every rule, trying to make peace, trying to keep everybody happy, realizing at the very end that her own happiness is
the sacrifice.
And I think at last she's not willing to make it. So she finds her way to London, and, she carries the memory of a young, tender romance she would have had when she was, 16, 17, with the Stewart son of the estate that she grew up on. And she ended up having to reject him because he was the Stewart son. She was meant for better. And the romance was discovered by someone else in the family. So she ended it. She felt she had to. He goes away. She thinks that door is closed. She walks into the Lion's Den, signs the contract, and like literally the very next thing she sees is this boss hero who, he went away to Spain. He joined the army along with her older brother. So this is also a best friend's little sister sort of story, which I love in a contemporary setting. So just the ability to write it was like so much fun. And yeah, so she sees him, he thinks he's a jilted lover, he's been jilted. And also incredibly, he was an adopted son, and it turns out that he is the lost heir of a viscountcy.
Oh, well, that's
So,
convenient.
so that's convenient, isn't it convenient? Oh, and but he has to marry very well, and the very last thing he wants is to have his heart broken again. So he's there to find, a very efficient
Kind of
match,
complicated.
and they have to they negotiate each other. The very last thing he wants is her, but in the end, what the heart wants, it wants.
Mhm.
And so it's about negotiating that with each other and finding their way back.
I love so much about that trip. I love that there's an already established intimacy and a second chance romance, and then in the marriage of convenience thing, somebody's going to have to be the one that like breaks first. Somebody's going to have to be the one that says "I love you" first, that makes himself vulnerable first. And I think in a second chance romance, it has so much weight, because it carries so much emotional stuff with it. And then as the readers, we just need to like ride along. That's the
Well, and it's a novella, so I usually write longer books, or historically I've written longer books. So for me, the ability to have it already grounded allowed me just to dive in a little easier and a little more quickly. But I'm all about the yearn and slow burn. That's the only way I think I know how to write, and I think historical romance does that particularly well. And so it is. So when you have that past hurt, finding a way to get beyond. Anyway, it was a ton of fun to write.
Yeah, it makes sense. There's so much emotional weight there. I have a writer friend, and she always says, "Give me all the sizzle and then the steak," but I want all the sizzle first.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this is a good time to mention the Dragonblade Kickstarter. If you haven't backed it yet, we've got about 2 weeks left. Not quite 2 weeks, probably 10 days by the time this airs. And if you're looking, I don't think she would mind me telling you, Michelle. If she does, then I'm going to get in trouble, and because I can't hide this. But when you were talking about being anxious about writing in the Lion's Den, I've been talking to Catherine about Bessie Duck Lion's story, about the Lion's Queen, and I know she herself is feeling this huge amount of pressure to write the origin story of the woman for this world that she created, and it's like who better than Catherine to write it, but at the same time, I know the Lion's Den has taken on a life of its own where there's so many authors have touched it, and have written their stories in it. But if you want Bessie Dove Lion's story, and you really should want it, if you like the Lion's Den at all, then you need to click on the link. I'll put the link to the Kickstarter in the comments. Click on the link. You can just get the ebook if you want, or if you want the paperback, you can get the paperback. Or if you want the gorgeous special editions, which are 8 novellas, 4 in each book, you can grab those. So it's easy. All you have to do is click the button, I promise, and then it's delivered to your Kindle when it's ready. Take about a month after release. So
Yeah. I've done Kickstarters in the past. They're super easy. Super.
it's so much fun to watch. Like, it's fun to watch people back it from places that I didn't expect too. Like, to see the dashboard on the back end and see where people are coming from is really interesting. And I've been tickled. It's the first one we've done where we got a Projects We Love badge, and we also got selected to be part of the Kiss and Tell Kickstarters too, which is the romance specific thing. So it's been very exciting for me. And then every once in a while I do the Churn the Better dance for the other members of the team, which I know they love. When we get backers or things work out particularly well. So, but I'll make sure I put the link in the comments so you can grab it, because it's the only place you can get Bessie Duck Lion's story for a fair bit of time. Well, the next book we had come out this week is Highland Vows, and that's Brenna Ash's book, and it's book 3 in the Highland Heartstrings series. I'll make sure I pop the link to that in the comments too, so you can get it. And then we have a Violetta Rand re-release, that's Merciful Salvation, and that's book 3 as well. We're having a book 3 run on the Heart of the Viking series, so I'll make sure I pop that in there too. But ladies, we have a little bit of time left over. I thought maybe we could talk, since I haven't had much of a chance to talk to, I haven't talked to May at all before, and Michelle, I think we've only talked.
It's our first time.
Yeah, that was the first time for both of you. So then I want to know how you write. I want to like, are you plotters? Are you pansters? Do you sit down in the mornings? Do you sit down at night? Do you have a process, or do you just like squeeze in the time when you can? Give me all the good stuff.
Oh my gosh, I am the worst. I'm a pantser. It is the worst way to write a historical romance. The absolute worst. And I am a morning writer. I find my brain, once I have a little coffee, caffeine, I get up and I start writing for the day. Um, Sometimes that's a long time, depending on where I am in my deadline. But I write. I try to write at least 2,000 words a day.
Mhm.
That can go fast or slow, based on where I am in the story. Usually, the end gets super fast.
Isn't
Um,
that amazing how you can do like 2,000 words in like an hour and a half, and then it can take 7 hours to do
yeah,
2,000 words?
yeah, exactly. It is no rhyme or reason, and I really believe it's because I'm letting the story pull me along. So I have a mild outline, and then I go from there. It's not the best. Please don't.
So I'm very much the same. I am a pantser. I have tried to be a plotter, and it just doesn't work. I I am a character-driven writer. I think most pantsers must be, right? So I usually try to go in with a little bit of an essential, a little bit of conflict, like what's going to make these two characters rub together, and then there's uh, a lot of sighing and a lot of me working things out. Actually, I'm working on another Dragon's Blade book right now, and it's in its earliest stages. And I just said to my husband, I said, "Okay, here's the thing I have to figure out. You know, you have for the rest of the day, and then I need to bounce this off of you." But yeah, and as far as when I write, I often say I write in the margins of my life. I have a day job, so I write early in the morning. I'm going to write right after
Mm.
where I am now, and I will write there. And I do a mix of longhand. I type. I have discovered the art of talking, like doing dictation
How do
with
you
words.
dictate?
I
Love
got
it.
1,600 words yesterday in like 45 minutes. And and it's been interesting because I hear my character's voice. I always hear them. I rarely see them, but I generally hear them. So, I've got to, obviously, I got to fix it up. My books are written in the edit, I think, like they're a hot mess, and then I fix them up. But yeah, so I'm a little bit all over the place, but the most important thing is that I do a little bit every day. So,
I saw
Yeah.
you light up when she said about dictating, May. Do you dictate
Oh
too?
my goodness. So I when especially when I'm like running right up to the minute, I start dictating. And then by that time I know the characters and they're talking to me and I'm listening to them. And I find that I lit up because I find that the authorial voice interruption is reduced when I'm using dictation. And it is an amazing thing. I don't do it straight through the book, but I do think it's a great thing to have. So,
I go back and forth. Whatever works in that moment is what works. So it is harder, I think. Like, so in the beginning of the book, my characters can feel a little wooden, like because I'm getting to know them, and yeah, and they start slow. The beginnings are my kryptonite. People talk about the middles, but actually, for me, the beginnings are my kryptonite, and then as it moves forward, I speed up.
Because you don't know who anybody is in the beginning.
Absolutely, yeah. You don't know, or you think, or sometimes it's worth. Like I'm working on a series now where heroines have been sort of established in book one, but you really don't know as much about them as you think until you start to peel away those layers, which, like, that's the cool part of writing, isn't it?
yeah, it's a lot of fun when they surprise you. I love
Yeah.
that.
And it's hard when they turn out to be different people at the end of the book than they started in the beginning of the book, and you have to figure out
Yeah,
how to like take the reader with you on that
yeah,
journey
yeah.
too.
It's the great editing process.
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about that enough because I think readers sometimes get the impression that you just tell the story and that's what it is. But I know for so many writers, especially for pastors, it's just get the words down on the page so you have something to fix. You have something
Yes.
to do, you know.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I have a friend who talks about writing a trash draft, and it's very freeing using that word because it's just about getting it down, and then you can go back, right? I love editing. Not every moment of it, but that first, like, I have the clay and then
Yeah.
forming and refining. It's awesome.
Mhm.
And I
I
think
feel
if
like
you
it's
go ahead.
three edits for me before, and it's a wild thing. Maybe if I was a plotter, I wouldn't have these problems, but but it takes a minute to get it just right.
Well, how many extra words, May, do you have, like, after, like, do you have
Laying
another
around.
sub novel? Like,
It's terrible. I try to keep it around what I promised I would send, but there's always like extra, and I'm like, what am I doing here? So usually about 10,000 gets scrapped. And one of the things is the inciting incident. It's always a move. I feel like we're twins. It's
yeah,
always a moving target. So I thought it started here, and then I go back and read it, and I'm like, oh, that is not where it started. So it's an interesting thing.
if I don't write the beginnings of my book at least 5 times, it doesn't get written. Like, I'll swear. Yeah, maybe we are twins. Like, that's
Yes.
exactly it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could fix that though, because it is like, but I do need it. I think I need to wander with them for a minute
Yeah.
in the wilderness. So it helps.
Yeah.
And I
I
think
think
part of that is like the imposter syndrome never goes away. At least I have not found anybody for whom it's gone away for. But I do think that just accepting that this is your process. Everybody's different. Everybody writes different, and this is your process. And not trying to fix yourself every time is gotta be a little.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I-
my husband often says if I don't come to him and say this is the hardest book ever, I'm not writing a book.
Yeah. For me, I read it back, and I'm like, this is terrible. Do you
This is the
know how
time
to
they're
write
going
at
to
all?
tell you know. This is the time they're going to like. The reviews are going to be like, no, just don't.
So hard. Writing is hard, but it's worth it. It's fun to see what you come out with at the end. So
Yeah. It's hard, but it's a compulsion.
very much.
And we know we read for escape. Like readers know they read for escape to get away from things for a while. And I think for some writers in particular, that getting to escape in the world with your characters is like a very necessary thing. So
It is, because they won't shut up. If you don't write down their story, they won't shut up.
So you're both morning writers. Michelle, you said you write around the edges. May, do you still have a day job?
I do not anymore. So I am full-time writing, which is interesting because I used to be able to keep that framework of my job, right? So I would get up about 5, do a little writing. Now I kind of feel like, oh, you have all day. So I had to go back to
Become the 7 hours for 2,000 words.
right. I had to go back to it. I could not do it. Like, I thought I would be writing all day, every day, and it would be fine. And 5 days a week, and I'm going to have it does not. I had to stick to, how the way I became an author, and that's writing in the morning, and then, living life throughout the middle of the day. If I get to 2,000 words.
Plus, everybody has like a different pace that they go, but I think that there's a certain place where you kind of burn out. Because I could do thousands and thousands of words if I was on deadline and had to finish, and I'd be like, this is great. I did 9,000 words today. If I could do 8,000 tomorrow, I will be fine, and it would be like 1,800. It's like it's almost like you use up all the juice you have, and you need a certain amount of time to rebuild. You can't race at the pace that you want to go all the time.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Burnout is real, and especially at the deadline time when you're like, I am short 25,000 words. I need to get this done, and that burning all the time, is exhausting. So it takes me about a month to get my head back together.
And all I want to do is vacuum my house.
Mm-hmm. Very little cleaning happening.
No, it's like, she's vacuum, that would be great. So.
Right.
So on that note, how do you refill the well when you have time between books? Are you do you watch TV? Are you moviegoers? Do you listen to music?
I do it all. I am I draw inspiration from different medias of entertainment. So I love movies. I'm a Marvel girly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am so excited that Doomsday is coming out. So hopefully I'll be like in between so I can go see that. I also love vampires a lot. So Interview with a Vampire was out. And I'm looking forward to getting to watch that fully when I'm done with this book. so yeah, I love music, so I will consume anything that helps me get back to myself.
Vampires are fun just because of how different everybody's imagining of them is.
Oh yes, I love all of them, but Anne Rice's vampires are my favorite, and then Charlene Harris, and then L.A. Banks had a vampire series that I loved I want to say it's so I've been a fan for a long time.
So True Blood, are you an Eric or a Bill fan?
I am an Eric fan, and I don't know why anybody would be a Bill fan.
I know, because all he did was yearn and brood. And Eric got her gravel. He bought gravel for her driveway.
I know it. Eric was so practical.
Having around.
He was so practical. I love that. I love that. She was like, I need money for a driveway. And he made it happen.
Here comes the gravel truck. It's like,
that's a hero for me.
Kids when they were little would do that when they wanted cake. They would say, oh, Suki, Suki, Suki.
Suki. Suki. Oh, I love that show. It was good. I like the books too.
So, yeah, the books were great. But the show, that was one where I thought that the adaptation was actually really good.
Yeah, I did too.
Michelle, what about you? How do you refill?
So I love being outside. I'm not like a total wilderness girl, but I do live in a rural area and I like going out for walks. I definitely refill that way, even like on the weekends, because I have, writing is sedentary, more or less. My day job is sedentary, more or less. So, it's good for your butt and your brain to move a lot. But so I do try to get out. When I finished up the book at the end of like the last day, I think June, and I treated myself to watching the other Bennett sister. I do not, and so good.
It's on my list.
So good.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a huge my husband and I got married in Jane Austen cosplay. We are hopeless, and it was his idea. By the way.
I think we.
It's amazing. You made my heart.
Yeah, I will share some pictures sometime. I've put them on my Facebook in the past. But anyway, so and I do not I have no restraint. Like I will sit there and swallow it whole. Like I do not microdose my creative well filling. Like I just sit there. So pretend that sort of thing. But I think it's also just about, I listen to music often while I'm writing, and I have like a playlist. It's almost like a Pavlovian response. Like there are some songs I have had on repeat for like 10 years, and when I hear like Classical Gas, I know I have to write. But so I listen to music quite a bit, and then I like go out and see other people. Like, I get to go out with my friends, maybe go to a movie, just have coffee, just again, because I'm alone and I am an introvert, but I do have a social battery and I like to use it sometimes. So,
idea.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And now I'm going to move the other Bennett sister higher up my list because it's already been on the list. So.
Worth that.
It's so good.
In one sitting, like Michelle, so good. It's right up there with Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth. Put it right there.
That's the best one. That is the best
Twins.
one. Me and May,
That's
twins.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Well, on that note, Ladies, it was a delight to talk to you today. I really appreciate you sharing your stories with us. I love getting a chance to hear the stories behind the stories. I will make sure that I put the links to all the books that were released this week in the comments so you can grab them if you haven't gotten them already. And if you don't get them the first 2 weeks when they're 99 cents, you can read in Kindle Unlimited, which is absolutely my favorite way to read right now because my budget, she's tight. And Kindle Unlimited means that I don't even have to think about it. I can just, I want that one and that one and that one and that one. So, and I'll put the link to the Kickstarter as well. So if you want Bessie Dove Lions, you can get that. It looks scary. It's not. Just click the ebook if that's the one you want, or the paperback if that's the one you want, and the rest of it will take care of itself. So, ladies, thanks again for taking the time to talk to us. I really do appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us. Take care.